reset the sound, and we're set, man. So grew up around here, traveled a bunch. What was last real job?
So the job before everything that we do now fitness-wise was working in my family's trucking company.
Oh, like shipping freights type stuff.
Exactly. So not big rig stuff. So we the entire fleet was actually, that's why I like Toyota so much. My family, it's like Toyota Tacomas, Tundras, Siennas, all the more fuel efficient rigs, and they delivered radioactive pharmaceutical drugs to hospitals. So
like chemo drugs.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my dad's specific niche that he found that worked well for him for trucking, and he did that for over 40 years.
Wow.
And actually me pursuing fitness and getting into all this gave him the opportunity to sell the company and retire.
Right on.
Yeah, it was tight.
Well, yeah, but if you don't, if you're not keeping it for, lineage of...
Yep, exactly. And that is what I was doing. I was just bodybuilding simultaneously getting ready for the trucking business.
Yeah.
And then it turned out it went the other way.
Yeah, man. It's a weird world. I'm sure a lot of that. I mean, how long ago did you leave that?
I would say that was 4 years ago.
Okay.
And when Case and I first pursued, we did a couple things. It was the site that really helped us step away from our other jobs, the membership site.
Sure.
And it wasn't until that really happened, we still stayed at our businesses for each of our other jobs, because Case worked in a company for 10 years.
Wow.
And she stayed there for, I think she was the first one she stayed for another year. We both did. We weren't one of those people that, fold everything up and then dove over there. Like, Case has a son. We needed to be smart about it. I didn't want to be the new guy who came in and was like, everyone quit their job. We're doing this weird fitness shit.
Right.
So we did it the right way, made the fams happy on the way, and just kind of shifted things.
Yeah, I think is kind of, it's weird, right? Because it gains steam so fast that, like, I know I kept my job until 2017. Like, we were in a few years.
Yeah.
And it was even to a point where I was making as much from this as I was my real job. And even then, I'm like,
kind of double dipping. You're kind of like
it showed up fast.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it could disappear.
For sure.
It's quite as easy,
Exactly, yeah.
And, man, it's even still now, this long into it, it's still such a strange job.
It takes a long time for you to actually sit down and think like, okay, yeah, this isn't going to go anywhere. For a while, I was like, okay, maybe. I always thought like this was, when I first got into Instagram, I was like, this is a young guy's game. But then you kind of see some of the older people that are like 45, 50, and they're kind of just transitioning in, shifting. Okay, I'm not the young dude I used to be. I'm an older person. I'm in the industry longer. You got a little bit more knowledge, and you're talking, and your content starts to shift. But there's definitely this platform that's going to like last for a long time. And I think at the beginning, maybe people just did it the wrong way. Like, as long as you're putting yourself out there and showing people, we talked about this just a second ago, showing who you really are. Because if you have a brand someone can believe in, people will love your brand. And then they'll want to stick with you and follow you along, just how people fall in love with basketball teams, football teams, any sports.
Right.
And if you don't have that, it's just going to be gone. Like in the beginning when Instagram started, you always had the people that did kind of like the selfies and body shots and didn't really show real life, didn't show getting out of shape, didn't show anything besides photo shoot shots, and a lot of those people are gone now because they didn't bring anything. There's no value.
There's nothing to show other than this physique and this look.
Yep.
And so there's nothing to buy into, and then at some point, like it becomes like Muscle and Fitness, right? That I mean, they essentially can just reprint the same articles with different photos on a 4-year rotation, and no one will ever know.
Yeah.
And
it's unoriginal.
Yeah, there's something about letting your audience grow with you and be able to change and kind of mature and do different things. I would hate to be 37 and really working very hard to appeal to an 18-year-old audience.
For sure.
Not my crowd.
Yeah.
And then as your audience grows with you, they typically have their shit together in life too, and
absolutely,
different interest.
It was when, and you start to see it because you won't see it unless you post about real life shit. Like a month ago when Aldo, my dog, passed away. I have never seen so many people come out of the woodworks and support me for that. Like, I had people, and you probably see stuff like when you have monumental stuff happen, people will say, I've been following you for 5 years and I've never said anything once. You go to their profile and there's no profile pic.
Right.
There's no posts. They're just you would assume it was a fake account. And then they're the person who's like, I'm so bummed that this happened, man. Like, this fucking sucks. Been a supporter of you since day one. You're like, holy shit, man. There's people out there that don't have to like actually have a face to the Instagram, and they are popping out like that.
Yeah, and it's cool to get those messages, man. It's still super, super humbling. And for me, a lot of it's been just people dealing with chronic pain and injury and trying to get through the backside of that. And then also be okay with your sport ending.
Yeah.
And realizing that, okay, what's the next chapter?
Yeah. Nothing's forever.
Nothing, man. And, you know, it's weird that people, you know, at this age will fall in love with powerlifting or bodybuilding or, you know, any of the strength sports. But there's a point where it's a decline.
Yeah.
You know, it happens at some day. At some day, that was the best you'll be.
Yeah.
And then after that, it goes the other direction.
Yeah. More like maintenance and what you can hang on to.
Right. And so, like, why keep fighting that switch in the tide instead of finding a new interest?
Yeah. I think that's honestly, but think about, like, the world we live in. Like, think about the people who are, like all the not just girls, guys as well, who are getting surgery done. Like, dude, there's so much stuff they could have done to have been healthier, but they just kind of let it go, and then it turns into a facelift or a tummy tuck or, man, my weight got away from me, and now I got some extra skin that will never go away through diet and exercise, so now I need surgery. And, a lot of that stuff preventatively.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I'm stoked I'd rather see people, like, at least some point there's a wake up and realize, like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, my life, you know, that I'm not happy, I'm not healthy, I'm not in shape, I'm not able to do things.
Yeah. And this is that's probably one of the worst times, like right now, because you're stuck. You can't
stuck.
go really start a gym membership. You got to have, I mean, what if your entire, you know, weight loss journey, like, that's the thing. Like, if you have enough motivation to get a trainer to get you in shape, you're still doing the work. You should be proud of that.
Right.
You know, it's not like someone built a car for you and then, like, you're pretending like you did it. Like, no, you're being told maybe what to do, but you built your chest up. You dropped the fat. That was your hard work that did that.
Always.
And you use somebody else's tools to help you get there.
But we all have.
We do.
Yeah, we all have. Whether now it's become, you know, such a, you know, your collaboration in your head between all the different people you've learned from, that it's become now your thing.
Yeah.
But it's all bits and pieces we've taken from different people that have influenced us.
For sure.
And business-wise or, you know, training-wise. You know, I mean, none of us operate in a vacuum to get to say, I did all of this solo.
How long did you say, what did you say was 2008? You on YouTube?
Yeah. So I think I probably started posting on YouTube, like, back then. And it would have been just, like, training footage. Like, no edit to it whatsoever. Like, I think I was using a flip cam.
Just keeping it simple.
Yeah, it was just setting it up on a tripod, taking 10 throws, and, like, maybe I would add in, like, iTunes Filmmaker.
Yeah. Just like the
how far
exactly what you had back then.
How far I threw it, and here's what it was.
Do you ever go back and look at those videos?
Yeah, it's weird.
Is it?
Yeah, it's super weird.
I'll scroll back on some of my stuff where I had got, like, hit a milestone for myself, like 10,000 followers on Instagram or 20,000. I'll post a picture with the bright blue, you know, or bright red, you know, writing on it, 20,000 followers, exclamation marks, with me and my dog. It's like,
it's crazy.
That's pretty crazy back then.
Yeah, dude. It's changed so much too that, I mean, none of us when we got into it knew it would be a business.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of developed into, like, I mean, that's what we both talked about, at least with apparel or what have you, you know, that this thing is something we wanted, and then it naturally progressed out of it due to the audience being on board.
Yeah. And I think that's actually one thing that people are missing with this, because, I mean, how old are you?
37.
So I'm going to be 33 this year. You've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are like, you know, kids, you know, 13, 14, whatever, on Instagram, and they're like, dude, this looks cool. I want to do this. And it's like, people don't realize, like, Steve Cook, you know, Ulysses, Simeon Panda, a lot of these people that are, like, the top level of, like, the follow list of this whole thing, that people are looking at these physiques. It's like, they've been doing this longer than you have been on Earth, kid.
Right.
So they need to expect that. It's like, you're not going to look like the dude who's been at it for 17 years. You can make whatever comments you want for juice or not natty or fake natty, whatever. But it's like, somebody who trains properly for 17 years straight will always look very good. If they're on their diet and everything, they're going to have a changed physique if you're on top of your shit and being consistent for that long. And I think a lot of kids want to do that, but they get frustrated at how long it really takes, because when I throw up pictures of me back when I was in, like, some serious bulks where I put on, like, a lot of my size, like, I would say, like, the main size that built my physique was in that big 6-year off season where I was like 260.
Wow.
Could you imagine somebody trying to get to 260, like, putting on about So I'm 202 right now.
Okay.
So about 58 pounds of fat above this. I mean, I was heavy. I look like a completely different person.
I understand. When I was competing, I was 290.
Exactly. So it's like you would be a completely different person, but no one's going to try to do that. No one needs to do that anyway. I'm not saying anyone should get that weight. But to actually put a little fat on, actually put on the progress, not worry about cutting to be lean for Instagram, and actually saying I'm going to invest in myself because it's the same concept as, like a stock or something. We were talking about all this. Like, if you start something early on, you might not be doing this for work when you're 15. I started when I was 15 years old, and it turned into my main job at 27 or 20 years old.
Right, and I'm also aware, and I had a full 10-year career in the petrochemical industry.
Okay.
And so, I'm pretty aware that there will be a point in my life where this isn't what I'm doing for my main living.
For sure.
And, okay.
Yeah.
That's another chapter will close, and I'll figure out how to pivot or do whatever is the next thing that seems to draw my cause.
I forgot who. I think it was probably Gary Vee. He did a really cool one. It was like he was talking to somebody in the audience, and the guy was like, it was like this burned out. It was about being burned out, and Gary was like, well, why are we using burned out? Maybe you just don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
I think that scares people. Like, nobody wants to say, I'm going to fucking stop bodybuilding.
Dude.
But some people are like, man, I'm burned out on bodybuilding. Maybe you don't like it anymore. Well, and you might not like it again. Like, bodybuilding athletes, anything where you're putting out an extreme amount of calories daily to continue, like, the look or the physique or the performance that you want is super hard. I told Case this the other day. I'm like, bodybuilding's extremely painful, and if it's not fun, then all you're doing is putting yourself through pain. So one day you're going to go in there and go, dude, I don't want to do this anymore.
I just don't want to do it.
And especially if you're not making money, because a lot of people are starting this to make money.
That's the other side of it that I think is so strange, right? I can't imagine. Well, like, if you're growing up right now, this is a job path. Yep. Like, this is a thing that you could look at as a kid and be like, people make a living doing this. There's a recipe to get there.
Yeah.
And when we were growing up, this wasn't a job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, our parents don't understand still how this works.
Yeah.
Like, mine explained, like, to kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like, you have shirts, but you don't have a store.
Yeah.
I don't.
And that's what it is. You explain. I think what they get the most is probably like the followers, translating it to like, okay, imagine if you had 70,000 people that liked, your hat brand.
Yep.
And you knew that they had the hats that you liked, and you only had a store in Hillsboro. Well, what if those 70,000 people live all over the place and you only have a store in Hillsboro? Well, it could just be who's in the area code. 7 people?
Right.
So if you have that big, wide audience and you remove, the brick and mortar of the monthly, expense and all that shit, and you're shipping these from, I know people that, you probably as well, make a lot of money shipping from their garage. There's no headquarters. You're playing video games later next to headquarters.
Right.
And they're making an entire living from selling hats or T-shirts, and it's not even bullshit. It's banging brands.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool.
It's super rad. It's super rad that entrepreneur spirit now it's as strong as it's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, man. The idea that, like, when we were kids, even the idea that there's some level of followership or whatever it is to it that we're doing ads for companies, like, being paid. It's very strange. Like, that was a thing only celebrities had access to.
Yeah. And it's weird how it transitioned into it, because I guess this social media is one of those things where if any of us that's like, listen to this, sit down and think about it, there was no instructions.
No.
I can barely get a hold of support when my shit gets hacked. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of all on you to learn. So all these people who are, getting to the top, and I'm not talking bullshit fake followers, like building truly,
that seems to be a
unique
thing now that's just not as valuable as it was.
I just don't understand. Yeah, I guess I get it. Maybe you're trying to, like, flex for the homies in school or something.
Yes,
but it's like, you're going to know pretty damn quick, is the dude who's got, a couple million followers, going home and, sleeping with his family, in the basement, or is he going home to a nice house with something else? It really translates.
Dude, I can't imagine the headache of, like, if you somehow built an audience that you're responsible to of that many people.
Yeah.
And can't monetize it.
Yeah. Well, I always think about the girls who have, like, the massive sexual followings.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they should do this, because this would, like, kind of have people talk shit, but, like, you're building your entire platform around people looking at your body and, like, your, like, sexuality and, like, putting it out there, and it's a lot of guys commenting, right? And then what do these girls do? drop their bikini line. Your following's probably 92% dudes who are like touching
they're
themselves,
not
they're
selling-
beating their shit to their pics.
You're not selling.
You're not
shit,
selling
dude.
it, and it's like I guarantee that's way off. I
So
remember
just go to OnlyFans. This
Yeah.
is what you're doing.
I always
There's plenty of money
you-
there if that's what you're doing. Do
and
that.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that's what I thought people would like get
Yeah.
on me for. It's
Well,
like,
you know
dude,
what,
if you're
man?
selling that out there for free, put it behind the paywall, and that's really what you're doing. But they don't want to cross the line, and they're gonna promote the bikini or whatever, but they don't
know.
realize what their insights say on Instagram.
Yeah, and, I don't have a lot of judgment for. I mean, if that's what a chick wants to do, right on.
Dude, I have a couple guy buddies that are on it, and I'm just like, but it's not. It's none of my business.
Look,
your
same way I
thing.
feel about it. Right,
Yeah.
it's none of my business. If I was sponsoring a female who did it, I'd probably
Yeah.
back out.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
not how I'd like to be represented on a business standpoint. I don't personally give a shit. I've been a fan of pornography my entire life. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to pretend I'm not.
But like the two dudes, this guy posted about it on his story, and he actually did a Q&A talking about it. And he goes, "Yeah, you guys, a lot of I'm getting some flack,
Yeah.
getting some people talking shit." And he goes, "I make an extra $3,000 a month in a time where I need it."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "You're like
Dude,
this
and you're
guy
not
to me.
owned
I'm
by
just like, you know
anyone.
what? You're fucking cool as hell, man.
Yeah, and you're
whatever."
not owned by anyone.
Nope.
My problem is acting it's not what it is.
Yeah.
Like if you are someone who wants to be a respected strength conditioning coach,
Yeah.
you don't get to do both.
Yeah, exactly. But like these people like pick and choose their paths, and if you start pushing yourself towards that, like you were able to incorporate your brand and everything on there, and easily drop a shirt, drop a hat,
Sure.
drop your first line, and then it was picked up because people liked it. But if I were to, what would be something fucking weird?
I mean, look, there's a dude, Adam22, is his Instagram or his YouTube, and the guy started this BMX brand years ago called The Come Up.
Yeah,
And then had a website with it, and that ended up turning into like him doing YouTube, and then getting with a chick who got Instagram famous, and then
Oh, okay.
both of them end up doing porn together,
oh shit.
and like it has a podcast. I mean, seems to be killing it on a lot of fronts, doing
Wow.
a bunch of moderately sketchy shit, and like right on. You know what I mean? Like he's not
Living
pretending
dangerously.
he's not who he is.
Yeah, hey,
And-
that's cool. I was actually, I don't really want to say his name. Should I say his name and you could cut it?
It's up to you.
That Tristan Lee kid.
I
Do you
don't
know
know
who he
him.
is? He's a pretty big deal on Instagram, young guy.
Okay.
He's just one of those dudes where you look at him and you're like, that's a prime example. So I think he started his Instagram when he was like 14 or 15, and he is just growing his Instagram. I think he's got 1.5 million followers.
Killing it.
Sponsors up the Yin Yang.
Yeah.
And I know what kind of money I made when I had sponsors back when I had,
Right.
100,000 followers and 500,000 followers. And
Yeah.
to be a 16-year-old kid, hardworking, dude, he posts his brothers. Like, he talks about wanting to be a professional soccer player. He's a hardcore gym goer. And I could just imagine the kind of money that he makes.
Good for him.
And bringing it home to, like, his family. Could you imagine that?
Good for him.
And
dude.
I think that's so sick, and that's what I want, like, people to start seeing. Like, dude, these kids, Cameron, our son, I
Yeah.
should say, newly adopted Casey's son. We were
Yeah,
chatting with him.
congrats on that,
Thank
man.
you
That's
so much.
super, super cool.
Yeah, and we were chatting the other day about it, and he was talking about something that he wanted to do and doing TikTok and all this stuff. I'm like, it's really funny, but it's like you could start building something now, and just because your TikTok starts as something fun here, like look at Logan Paul's content
Right.
now. He was funny. He is funny,
Sure.
but he was killing it over on Vine, and then came over and look at his Instagram now. He's morphing in. He's doing the boxing.
Right.
He has a killer. He just has all this different content, and it started with these little clips. So let's say Cameron or these young kids or Tristan, you're getting your following. Like for him, let's say you build your following on bodybuilding. And then you become a professional soccer player, and you move away from bodybuilding.
Right.
You've been telling everybody you're going to do that since day one. Now you have this big follow base, and you're going to get a new follow group as well. People fall in love with people that they can,
Yeah,
and this
man,
comes
but
back
people
to
fall in love with the person.
exactly, and that comes back to what we were talking about, and actually putting your personality and everything on the line, because people are going to bail on the dude who doesn't bring life to the page. I want to talk about some real shit. Man, I got some
Yeah.
fucking demons going on in my head. I've been depressed for the past couple weeks. I fucking don't want to.
Well, that's the thing, right? And like everyone's got shit.
And when you act like you don't, it pushes you further away from that person. Dude,
Yeah.
you don't got a fucking six-pack year
No,
round.
dude,
I see you
went-
at the expos,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
I went through a divorce a year ago. Like
Yeah.
we we didn't make a big public talk about it
Yeah.
or anything like that. My ex, we're still close and good friends. I'm thankful we made it through that, and like she doesn't operate online.
Yeah.
And so like, why would I share
Exactly.
half of the story? It's
Yep.
just not fucking cool or fair. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's none of your business, guys.
Yeah. No,
You
no.
know,
I
appreciate
for sure.
but it's a tough thing. But you got to share the real life things. There's ups and downs, man. It's not fucking just great all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always people that like, there was a guy like years ago, and I think he posted like, you could push it, right? You could either not show enough, which is basically like you half-assing it and just being like, oh, here's a picture of like the sunset. Oh, there's my life. Or you could take it to the next level. And there was a guy years ago who like did a slightly sketchy video of like after his grandfather was passing away, like kind of documented it. And it's like, there's some things you keep to yourself. And then some of
Yeah.
the bad shit that like I'll put on my page where it's like me eating shit falling out of a garbage can
Sure.
or trying to skateboard or going down, like just being a little bit more real. We don't need to see you getting in a head-on collision and being like completely messed up. But if you want to talk about like, and if you want to do that, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to show all these tiny little parts of your life that other people also go through, and then just makes you closer to that person.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine line between what feels exploitive of a moment and what feels genuine.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's a really, really tricky one. I had a moment the other day, man, that I ended up sharing. I'd gone for a run and it felt good, and for whatever reason, just level of gratitude for not being in pain and being able to do it. Got weird emotional afterwards, and I was like, fuck, man, I just feel like I went for a run. This was a thing that I had just decided I'll never be able to do again.
Yeah.
And this like stealing back an ability
For sure.
felt just right.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, and just so grateful, like, okay, we're out of pain.
Yeah.
And, looking at that, like, I know that for what we do and what we share, it would have been better to be like, hey, Brant, come film this.
Yeah.
But then that felt so odd to
Some of the you need to take those for yourself.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
mine, man.
Yep.
And I was able to share some of it with the following on my story, and the people that came out of the woodworks on that, man, of just people that have dealt with pain.
Yeah.
And like, I've got a bad knee and I'm scared that it's going to be this, but seeing you come through it and be
For
on
sure.
the other side, that there's still
Yep.
life.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
That
man.
people can see themselves in you
Yeah.
and what you're going through and being like, maybe that's where I'm at, that's where I'm gonna be, that's where I could be, and this is my outlet to get through it.
Yeah, and it's not something to feel sour about as much as this is what the situation is. How do we make the most of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like life's gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
And it's gonna beat you up, and it's gonna throw wrenches in the works. I mean,
I know.
between I'm sure your idea of starting a family wasn't in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah. It's actually, this whole thing coming up, like with the virus and the riots and all the good stuff as well.
Yep.
It's actually kind of, I was thinking it's like a monumental time. Like I was born in 87. What was happening then? Nothing. Like
Michael
this
Jackson
is
was
obviously
all
a really
over it.
scary time, but like there's some really good shit, terrible shit, but like where I feel like sometimes the bad stuff needs to happen for a lot of people to see, and then it's like, do we need to let's fucking start moving in the right
you have
direction.
to get people's attention,
Yeah.
and I think right now we have it. My only issue so far with it is that the movement, similar to what the Occupy movement tried to do, is they don't have a target
Yeah.
to say like, this is what we'd like. It's just they know they don't like the current thing,
Yeah.
but there aren't any other good solutions to bring to the table, like defund the police. I get the message.
Yeah.
This is a really bad idea.
Well, it's just, I mean, I have a
Yeah, of
police
course.
flag behind me. When I did my post about Black Lives Matter, I had a number of police officers write me, tell me to take the flag down. And it was just kind of like,
Why does one equal not the other?
it blows my mind because I would honestly say, this is true. I think I have, way more friends that are like either Hawaiian, colored
course.
skin
Yeah.
than I have, just a couple of Caucasian homies walking around.
Right.
I'm the minority in my group. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just kind of strange, dude. It's I don't know.
I just don't understand why I can't be in support of good police officers that take that job seriously. That I choose to protect and serve my community.
So in my mind, it's kind of similar to like, I think that some of the police officers, and who knows, man, I could probably get shit for this too, but like, why are you mad? Like, some of the a lot of I have actually had a lot of good police officers write as well, and they say, you know what, you're right. You know, there's
Same.
there's some bad, there's some bad cops out there. There's some shitty everything out there.
Yeah, there's bad cops. There's bad coaches.
Yep.
There's bad fucking business owners. There's
Yep.
shitty people. There's bad priests.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And you can't throw it all out with.
Yeah. I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I have a lot of friends that are police officers. They come in here. None of those were the ones who were,
Sure.
coming to me and whatnot. And I think a lot of people would sit there and realize that, like, man, if you were in trouble, who do you call?
I know.
Man,
I know.
if police officers were really gone,
It's a bad idea.
You've
you've seen it in a couple areas now in the country that have kind of closed in on themselves.
Like
Harlem,
yeah,
South Side of Chicago. Like you've had these dangerous neighborhoods that have like taken a lot of policing over years that are now cops won't go in.
But think of it like this. You know who it is? It's always the people, because they did that YouTube video and they were talking to people that lived in those neighborhoods, and they're like, what do you think? Should we defund the police? And they're like, hell no.
No.
They're like, do not. So what they need to start doing is going to like neighborhoods that are not sketchy and say, let's say, for me, for example, let's say that I was out of town and they defunded the police, and for some reason I was somewhere else and my pregnant, wife and kid are at the house, and something happens. What would they do?
No, people.
And if it's not a cop with a gun, a properly trained person with a weapon to dismantle somebody, because you see videos all the time of them doing it the right way. What I always tell people, I was talking to my buddy Dan about it, I'm like, what they fucking need to do is start paying some, jiu-jitsu fighters to go out there and, get you. I'll tell you what, man, if you get somebody in an arm bar, stop or I'll break your arm. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it.
The thing is,
Nope.
choking someone, and like I bounced at enough bars.
Yeah.
And like we knew choking people was the way to go then.
Yeah.
But it's because it's the easiest thing to train, that if you cut off someone's air, their
Yeah.
priorities change.
Yeah. But if you have somebody, like when I go and do like that training and stuff, my buddy Dan, like, he pass out.
Right.
And if you're trained in it, I'm not saying that you should be doing that. I'm just saying there should be people that you see some of these cops, man, and they, bro, dude, you look like you can't run 10 steps.
No, it's
and
low hanging
you know what your
fruit.
last resort is? To pull your gun out. You freaking overweight,
Right.
non-trained. You did the minimum to get here.
Yeah.
And now it's time to perform. Because you haven't done shit for
a lot
whatever.
of them don't ever have to re-up the physical fitness test as long as you pass it the first time,
and you
which
can
is crazy.
see it. It's insane.
It's crazy. And I think being a police officer is a brutal job.
Yeah.
It's underpaid. It's overworked. It's way overstressed.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I understand not staying on top of it, but I think we should require perhaps a 4-year degree
Yeah.
in anything.
Yeah.
We require 20% of your week is spent training,
Yeah.
and then we pay them better.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite of defunding the police, because if we
Yeah.
want better candidates, we have to make the job better.
Yeah. And I think that they should have like a higher, like, I think it should be like a, hey, dude, if you screw up, you're gone.
I also think for sure that dirty cops should be punished harsher than not police officers.
Yeah. I think there's just a, I
If
think
you were on the inside, we fucking trusted you.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah, I think it should just be one of those things where it's like, because there's a few people like No Donuts here on Instagram. You know that guy?
nuh-uh.
He's awesome, man. I love his page. You should follow him after this.
Okay.
He's awesome. But he posts a lot of stuff. He's a police officer in New York. And he's posts pictures of him on the cover of like New York Times on like their social media with fireworks being blown up next to him. I've met him. He's really nice.
Hell yeah.
His page is almost the majority of him with colored people. You know,
Right.
it's like and then he's in the middle of that shit. You know that guy doesn't deserve that stuff.
I know.
You know what I mean? And it's just kind of brutal. I don't know. You see one story and then you're like, I'm on that side.
Yeah, our media is just such a witch hunt right now, and it's a lot of the way people are too, and it's a lot of America's issue that people want right and want wrong, and so everything has to be divided to this very simple left or right, when that's never really the case.
Yeah.
And so it just sucks that we've gotten in such a weird political funk that again, me saying I believe Black Lives Matter movements is also somehow me saying fuck the police.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe both.
Yeah. In my post that I
Right.
did for that whole thing about George Floyd, I was like, dude, first of all, that was terrible. It was one of the worst. Dude,
Yes.
Dude, I didn't realize till after that video came out that because he cried out for his mother was
Yeah,
had
dead.
passed away.
Yeah, she'd been dead for a number of years.
Dude, that gives me the chills now.
I know.
Who are you crying out for? It was so fucking sad. So I had, you talk about it, and in that thing, I'm like, dude, this is so terrible for great cops. What a bummer. I'm thinking about, man, I have police officers in my family. I got police officers coming to the open gym, and they're fucking awesome. And it's like, this dumbass fucking guy who's a psycho just created all of this, dude.
Yeah.
All of this. And you know what? It's just terrible.
It's terrible. And, and to me, look, George Floyd thing, it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
100%, right? And, man, the people also bitching about, this doesn't need to go the way it's going. Look, we've also taught the African American community, a very disenfranchised group in our country, that peaceful protests aren't getting the fucking job done. You guys have been doing this since the 60s.
And I got lit up for that too, because I was kind of not saying that like the rioting and stealing's okay.
But I believe that part of that is our fucking fault.
It is.
Well, not our fault, but you know what I mean.
Well, how long can you be quiet? So think of it like this. If every morning, like, I woke up and, keep it simple, a sprinkler hit me in the face. Every time I woke up, I just walked out and a sprinkler hit me in the face. Well, if you change your path and go somewhere else and you walk out the other door, sprinkler hits you in the face too. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? But if you can't get away from it, it's like, dude, help me somehow.
Right.
Somehow. You know what I mean?
And it's, and when I say we did this, I mean America. This is the fucking route that we went, and a big portion of our population is fucking unhappy with the opportunity in life they're giving, because it's different. Yeah. And, man, that's something we can address.
Yeah. I had some guys write me, and they were like, he goes, this is bullshit, man. He goes, I made a arms race nutrition order, and I'm canceling it, or something like this. And I go, you fucking racist beast. I said something back to him, and I almost, before, because he blocked me, I tried to say, send me the amount of money you have ever bought any of my stuff, and I will PayPal you the amount. I'm like, sometimes you get bummed that those people even believe that you would be that way. What do you think I was going to say, dude?
Yeah, I think the Black Lives Matter post I made and the, stuff I've said about it, I mean, I think probably it cost me a little over 1,000 followers. I'm sure yours,
you see it
just multiplies differently, right?
Yep, for sure.
And fuck them.
Yeah.
Good.
When I saw it,
I
was kind of, I'm like, what was I doing in the past that you thought that was going to be a different post?
Yeah, why are there 1,000 fucking idiot racists that think?
Yeah, it was just so strange. And their argument was bullshit.
Yeah,
it was whatever they could do to and then they'd fire it off, block you before you could respond. Just they wanted you to see it.
Weak sauce
and
shit.
Just weak. And it is what it is. And
we don't need to argue about it. Let's have fucking honest discussions about the problems at hand and what has been instituted in the country and what we can do to fix it at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just take it as that has happened in the the past and it's currently taking place. They take it as if well, you're not. They're taking it as it's a direct attack on them, and it's like, dude, it's not. It's just we're just bringing awareness to it. This is not a direct attack.
No, the vanity involved in believing that this is about somehow an attack on you.
Yeah, the all lives
crazy
or whatever.
Yeah, the people that say all lives, that statement, right? No one's saying they don't.
Yeah. So what do you? Yeah.
But what we're saying is currently, if all lives matter to what you're saying, then we should definitely support the Black Lives Matter thing. It's it's an arm of it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I mean, it's just tough to look at, man. Even stories I've had with, friends that, black friends that grew up. It's a fucking way different experience growing up with cops than I had.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking weird world, man. And
one thing that I was thinking about was that video really tweaked me pretty bad when I watched it. I don't like that kind of shit,
Sure.
I'm not the person who goes and watches the weird shit on Reddit and all that crap.
Gotcha.
But so what I always thought about was let's say that was a homosexual person. I think a lot of people would be behind the gay community. I would.
I agree.
I got a lot of friends that are gay.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be pretty similar. I think maybe it would be the straw that broke that. There's a lot of stuff that is glossed over, and I think that was it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% that if we just saw the other side of that, and I mean, even still, the fact that the Breonna Taylor stuff, that no arrests have been made.
Yeah.
For this.
But you know what? Social media is awesome, dude. we're bypassing the news.
The news
you're
is
going
bad.
to your local, CrossFit buddy that you want to follow who's dropping bombs.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love all the stuff that's been going on. This has really outed a shitload of racist people.
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking at there like, who's posting about this kind of stuff? Who's talking about it? Like, you don't have to like change your entire page to like, okay, now we're talking about this, but like incorporate it.
Right.
You had a platform?
Well, it would be a little, if you've got a platform, I think it's a little irresponsible to not fucking have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes I'll see stuff and it's like the bare minimum. It's like they turn off the comments and it's just like the emojis of all the different colors. And it's almost like they're, not that it's really bad, because I would say that, a step in the direction is better than not, because you have a bunch of people who took it to the next level.
So I agree with that to an extent. One of the things I definitely have an issue with through this is forced compliance.
Yeah.
That there is some level that everyone I know felt like, I do need to say something.
Yeah.
And we all know which side of this is the right side to say.
Yeah.
And if you don't say that, there will be repercussions.
Yeah.
To not make your side.
No, I agree.
Thing,
I saw it. I've seen it on a lot of people's posts.
And then like I got messages asking, what is Hate Brand looking to do as far as, working with more athletes of color?
Yeah.
Or, who are you planning on hiring?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never hired or sponsored athletes based on the color of their skin in my entire life.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to start doing it now to try to fill out some goddamn
Well,
pass to the real world.
They just need to look at the other side of it. Like,
No.
we're doing it, but like, let's say we all of a sudden started doing that. It's kind of like, have you ever seen the movie The Breakup?
Yes.
Remember that line where she's like, I want you to want to do the dishes. She's like, why would I want to do the dishes? She's like, I just want you to think about it and want to do it.
Right.
So, it's put out there, this is happening, and I think a lot of people sat back and they wanted to see. A lot of people wrote on my post and they were like, the white fitness community, I remember this comment on my page. He goes, the white fitness community has been eerily quiet, especially in the male side during this entire thing. And it was a guy, he was like saying something like, as a Latino man, I respect that you posted this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are just kind of still seeing through the bullshit. And maybe you're right. The people that have been felt forced to do it, maybe you should have just not posted.
I mean, I also wish that more people would be honest and say, I'm someone you follow for my lifting weights.
Yeah.
Right? This is what if that's what your page is, say someone who keeps their brand very on point, like say Cass Martin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it is very dialed in what posts are going to be all the way through. That I also wouldn't have any problem with someone saying, this is not what my page is about.
Yeah.
This isn't political.
Yeah. But they're also saying that if you don't say that,
right?
that's
my issue with forced compliance.
Yeah.
Is that it's
yeah, I guess
people will jump on board
Yeah.
without it being genuine.
Yeah.
And we still need people to understand why the change needs to happen.
So what do you think with the CrossFit thing?
The CrossFit thing becomes tricky too, because it's, people own businesses, and now whether or not you believe in CrossFit HQ, but you still believe in the methodology and what CrossFit did for the community and all these other type of things, which I believe is far more good than bad. HQ's been fucky for years.
Yeah.
And we've all known this.
Yeah.
So that it all pours out at one time, this has been known and been a problem at HQ for a long time. Like, the Wi-Fi code at HQ was like wet pussy for years. You know what I mean? Like, they don't give a fuck.
My Wi-Fi code here. Oh, it's not Bane's balls. God damn, man.
Right.
My bad.
And so, it's pretending that we didn't know this beforehand. Like in powerlifting, when Ano with metal got fucking ousted, like he made a really racist post, and then everyone just ran the fuck away from him.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think it was not normal information that people in powerlifting knew Ano was kind of a racist.
Yeah. I think it's like just think about how often you log in and see something. Sometimes I got people that write me and they go, "Man, I haven't seen your black dog in a while. Where is he?"
Yeah, I know.
And I'm just like, there are people that write me and they go, "Hey man, haven't seen you talk much about the Black Lives Matter thing." I actually did a couple posts about it, man.
Yeah.
Scroll back. I think people want to fight.
For sure, people want to fight, especially if they feel justified.
Yeah, but I feel like, man, there's some of these people that just make. I look at them and I go, dude, what do you fucking? I mean, what do those people think, that they're just unstoppable? They could say whatever they want. You make a joke about a dude who got literally kneed on his neck while cuffed and died and like cracked a joke. How could you ever crack a joke about that?
That's fucking rough, dude.
You know? I don't know. It was just.
I mean, with that said, like word police is tough, and I think at some point everything is allowed to be made fun of.
Yeah.
No matter how horrific, because it's a way to deal with and process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like South Park. South Park makes fun of fucking everything across the board, and so everything's fair game.
Yeah, for sure.
Putting something on a pedestal and pretending it's not above scrutiny and above something like that. It's a really tough thing, and this is such an awful, awful, awful situation. I just think just because people have a following, perhaps it's okay to give them the leeway for them to say, look, I don't know enough about this that I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
Instead of like already supposed to be have your shit together.
Well, Rob actually did a really cool. It was one of the best videos that I've heard about. I even commented on it. Said it. He did something, and it was like, if you have a puppy dog, and let's say, did you see that that IGTV? I think that he did. He was like, if you have a puppy dog, and it's been pissing on your carpet every morning. It was some analogy with the dog, and he was like, and then one day. It doesn't piss on the carpet. It gets closer to the door. And then are you going to keep beating the shit out of the dog because it's still peeing or it's getting better at what it's doing? It's like you can't just – it's progressing.
Right.
I think that everybody is wanting it to be like – there's a lot of people that look at it and go, oh, yeah, no-brainer. Yeah, but imagine being I wasn't raised racist.
Right.
I wasn't at all. Like I said, that's how it was growing up as well. But imagine – out of your control, you were raised racist.
Oh, look, I grew up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, I'd never thought about. And I don't believe my parents were racist. However, growing up in the South, it's a different thing. And I mean, I knew for me, there's a difference between racism and ignorance.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, My grandmother, who I don't consider a racist, I remember her having me deliver food down the street to her friend, like Miss Florence.
Yeah.
Who she referred to. Can you bring this to the colored lady, Miss Florence?
Yeah.
This is a friend of hers.
Yeah.
This was the way for me to know where down the street I was going.
Yeah.
And that's a difference in ignorance and also being born in 1920.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's 1990. You've seen some shit.
Yeah.
Life has changed, right?
Yeah.
And even my mom, dude. My mom was in high school when segregation ended in the South. So it's a different. Yeah. It's a fucking different place.
We're also like it's a lot different. It's extremely different, and it's like Case and I talk about it often. I think once this previous generation behind us, like our parents are gone, there's going to be it's already a big change because the younger are like there's so much that they have going on, such a big influence on social media that they can put themselves out there. But imagine an entire generation that was really a part of their culture being raised like that is gone. So because I wasn't raised like that. Let's say that my dad was or his grandparents was or something like that. Somewhere it stopped with him.
Right.
So imagine that like what would it be called? Compounding over the course of like getting more, the word being spread, social media, getting the word out there, more people teaching their kids. It's just going to turn into this like 2 people telling 4 people telling, this, it's going to turn into, before you know it, it's going to be nothing.
I think the kids are doing a good job.
They are. The kids have it more down than the adults.
It's the people, because the kids currently have they're not lying to themselves about what our parents believe the American dream was.
Yeah.
Like there's no fucking retirement. There's no 401k. There's not going to be Social Security for them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to work and figure it out. And it's going to be a very, most likely blue collar weird come up.
Yeah.
And they are disenfranchised as well because of how different the world is. Climate fucking sucks.
Yeah.
The people who've ruined it have no interest in fixing it.
Yeah.
And are just sitting at the top, squeezing as fucking hard as they can to this power that they still have to stay rich.
Yeah.
And money's becoming less important to people.
Yeah.
People are like, fuck it, we'll just live in a 200 square feet house and have freedom.
Yeah, seriously.
Instead of chasing some 7,000 square foot house and, 4 kids and the white picket fence and then, why be a prisoner to that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think the kids are making some cool changes, man.
Casey and I chat about that. It's cool because our parents have the problem. I think our generation and like the 20s to 30s somewhere in there, they're making they're the people out there doing the protesting and stuff. But then you have the younger who have they're seeing it, but it's not an issue amongst them, or it is getting better amongst them. Like I'm talking about what my experience is. I hate when people chime in. They go, "Well, you're not from this area, and that's terrible over here." Talking about my experience, and I see the way that our son interacts with everything, and it's like there's nothing like that.
No,
not an issue once.
No. I mean, man, yeah. Growing up, the idea of interracial couples wasn't something I saw like almost till I was out of college.
Yeah.
That I saw that people were super comfortable with.
Yeah.
Which is, such a change. The kids don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I was actually stoked at a young age. I think it was, who was it? Seal married.
Yeah, Heidi Klum, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, because I love Seal.
Right.
I was like, dude, got a freaking model. Hell yeah, bro.
One of the ones that really throws people for a loop is Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Is married to this beautiful black woman.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and he talks about it. He's like, people just don't see it coming, and they hear me in my accent and just assume I'm a fucking racist asshole.
Yeah, that's tight.
And so
that's cool though.
Yeah, he's fucking incredible, man. So here's something I'm interested about with your level following, and especially being on that side of the fitness industry, like mine being with coming up through a strength sport type of thing, and then the bodybuilding side.
Yeah,
I'm really confused by how there's a viable call-out culture within y'all's realm of like people who have their entire business is based on being essentially shitty tabloids for fitness celebrities.
Oh yeah, dude, I get it a lot.
I just don't fucking understand, and I don't understand why people care.
It's because, so think of it like this, like we've had numbers of videos done about us.
Of course.
And I think the thing is, like, you'll watch those videos, and people, just how I said that sometimes when people catch a glimpse of you in your off season, and it kind of brings you back down to earth, people might see somebody who's in shape or have maybe something that they don't. And I'm not trying to talk myself. I'm just saying, like, how I could see somebody hating on a level.
Sure.
And you just got to find something to chip them back down to your level. You know what I mean?
Scarcity thing, dude.
It is. It's like, but I think a lot, like, for example, like, I'll be totally honest. Like, I personally believe the best natural bodybuilder on earth is Doug Miller.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think he's unreal.
Right.
I think he's pretty fucking undefeated. I think it's known that he's the greatest. But, I built my following with not the craziest physique.
Sure.
I have a pretty, I would say I have a man, like a physique that someone can get to. You know what I mean? It's not too crazy. You can make arguments for like couple strengths, like my quads and my triceps.
Right.
But everything else is, not too insane. And I think it just comes back to like...
you're not this lean in 260.
Exactly. And I think... fuck, man. What were we talking about again? I had to bring that back.
Yeah, just like the kind of call-out culture that
back to that,
exists.
Yeah. So when you have that level like that and you get kind of people that could see something that maybe, especially if like, that's why I don't show off stuff, dude. Like,
sure.
I rarely show off my truck. You'll see glimpses of the gym, but it's rare that I'm like posing in front of a car that I bought or, any of that stuff. But
you leave your flexing to actual flexing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people will take what they want, and I'm a nice guy. Recently, I got down at the LA Fit Expo. I was in that video with that one guy, and did you know what I'm talking about? And we got some backlash big time from it. It caught like one of the worst angles of me ever. And
fuck him.
But the thing was, that Q&A, we had been talking previously in that Q&A. It was for like 30, 40, whatever people talking to that Q&A about that type of content. And then all of a sudden, we go over to the Q&A, all the people that were in there, they were supposed to be front in the line, and then the second person in line was that guy. So he wasn't at the Q&A. So as I'm sitting there talking to him, I thought he was part of the Q&A.
Sure.
And he starts telling me what he's doing, and I got this video idea from whatever and doing all this, and it just turned into like, as I'm doing this, I'm like, bro, you weren't part of this, like... He said, I asked him, I go, did you not just hear what we just said? You could see it in the video.
Right.
He's talking to me and he goes, he's like, well, what do you mean? I go, did you not hear what I just said? We were just talking about this type of content. He goes, no, man, I missed it all. So you weren't in line. So I started figuring out what he's doing, and he puts the scale down, and I nail my height and my weight. And then once I was done with everything, I let him know what I thought.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he was going to make a video about me supposedly fucking up on my weight and height. So if I was like 6 foot 212 and I was like 5'10" and a half and whatever, he would have raked me through the coals. But I had somebody in front of me who was trying to get me, and I fucking told him, man, I hate this content, dude. You're gonna get, and he did. You got a shitload of views because Julian Smith's name was in there.
Right.
And I hate that stuff, man. You made money because he went to all the people at that expo trying to get them to lie, or not lie, or catch them in a fumbling their words, and it's just not my kind of content.
No, dude, I find it super gross.
Yeah, it's just it's difficult. There's another dude who did one about me about being a fake natty, and I actually liked it, dude. Yeah. I thought I wrote him. His name was Philion. Philion. I don't know if you've seen his stuff.
Maybe.
But dude, I actually wrote him on because he called he made fun of the back of my legs. He goes, "Look at it, Pop." He goes, "It looks like a puss, a butt puss." And I actually changed my gamer tag on PS4 to the butt puss.
I love it.
And I wrote him afterwards, and I go, "Hey, you know what, man?" I go, "I appreciate you, the content." And I go, I appreciate that you didn't take it too far, because some people make videos and they'll be like, this dude's the biggest faggot I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, bro, you don't know me, dude.
It's amazing how that gets tolerated.
Know it, exactly. It's just common. You don't know me, and you just made that type of a judgment off of what? But it's all good. But when you see the other side of it, it's like I wrote Philion. I was like, actually laughed.
Right.
And he wrote me back. And
there's
he was
good satire.
Dude,
there's
I still have
difference.
I still have the screenshot. I was like, he goes, he's like, all good, man. He's like, I'm glad you could take a joke. It's all for laughs.
Right.
And I think, you go to some of these people's pages and you could tell it's like, man, that's a jab, dude. Like,
dude. Like,
you've never met him, and you're just scrolling, and you're going to just call the fucking guy out.
Yeah, I can't imagine that existing. That you know what I can't imagine?
So that doesn't happen in your industry?
No. Well, it does in my industry,
Probably
but I'm far enough down the ladder that no one's concerned with me, so it's great.
It's like the people that love the sport,
yeah,
that can't make it in the sport, so they're going to be the commentator in the sport that needed no commentating.
So weird.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally nobody asked for this.
Yeah, it's
Here's
like,
what I think.
This is what I and then the thing is, all the people that are watching that and agreeing are probably all people that either A, want to be as strong as you, A, want to lift as impressive as you, B, as cut as somebody,
right,
B, as shredded, have the lat spread, have something
instead of the work.
And then they're just going to kind of throw a little bit of hate, but that's all it is, man. Like I'll see some of the people that comment on like those posts, and it's always the same, hateful stuff. This guy's a douchebag, this guy's whatever. And then you'll always see people that are like, I fucking live down the street from this dude. He's fucking awesome, man.
Right.
We played football the other day. And there's just this big discrepancy between people judging you off of one person's opinion who doesn't know you.
No, it's amazing to me that the trolling, right? That like, I mean, if people that look like us show any aggression whatsoever in public, we are fucking pieces of shit.
Isn't that crazy?
However, if I was to do something behind my keyboard,
like people will come over and try to piss you off, say something, and you throw something back at them, and then you're the asshole.
You're the bad guy.
It's like you can't, and people will write me and they go, well, you're a public figure. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You guys chose that.
Yeah. I've been lifting in the same cities that I was born in, bro. Like, I'm just a dude who trains.
A public figure.
You think that. Like, you can't just step up and I think it was like, I don't know if it was Mike Tyson who said it, but it was like a shared meme of Mike Tyson behind the phrase. And it was like, social media has gotten people really good at saying shitty things to people without the whatever of getting punched in the face.
Yeah,
I butchered the shit out of that.
Face, right.
And it's true. It's like people can. I could get on here, find some girl,
right,
some guy, and just find an insecurity on them somewhere, drop it, put my phone down, walk away,
dude, like,
and just never deal with it.
And what a weird that the female side of our and the fucking way men speak to them.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Unfucking real,
dude. I'll get on people's pages and I'll see like married men talking sexual towards a guy.
Very odd.
Very common, but it's like I think people don't realize, like, hey man, if you're really relevant commenting on somebody else's page, like, people think that people that have followings aren't on social media. I see every comment.
Right.
I see everything. I saw a guy go so far back on my page to comment fake natty. I go, you thought I wouldn't see that, bro, did you? Wrote him back, But I think people just don't think anyone's going to see it.
God, just what do you do with your? I'm just so confused by the motivation that would help create that side of content. That like, man, if I woke up every day and I was like, let me figure out what other people have been doing wrong.
Yeah, but you know what I've been trying to work on? This is gonna sound like I feel like this is where you'll get like I would get like a little bit of slack because the vibe I put off, but I usually don't really care.
Yeah.
But on stuff like this, I kind of have a little bit more sympathy towards other people right now. That you're coming over and being shitty. I just think to myself like, there's a lot of like, you know how you always see like the. They say never pick on somebody or who's having a bad day because you don't know if you're the 20th person to piss him off and he's going to fucking do something to you.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not so much that someone's going to do something to you. It's just the fact that, why did someone say that? What would be happening in my life? Because there's tipping points where you would be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to say something to that guy. And I feel like sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah. And, man, it's just easier to be positive with people, and it's easier to throw out something that's a bit more encouraging.
Yep.
And again, it comes back to that, like, there's not some amount of success we're all trying to share. Like, we can all be happy.
Maybe that's what it is. I think maybe people, let's say, like, we both, clothing lines, right?
Yeah.
Let's say mine wasn't successful, and I just thought it was because it was you.
Right.
Like, sometimes people need to step back, and like I've seen some previous designs that we've come out with, like with Clifford, and I'm like, that's why it didn't sell.
Yeah, I've had the exact same moment.
That's pretty shitty. You know what I mean?
Like, well,
okay, I loved it, but clearly didn't hit it.
Or you drop something and you expect it to do well, and you're like, Zia,
and I'm like,
is the website broken?
Yeah, hello. But I think that's cool. But people need to like, at the exact same time, everybody else is going to be a big critic. You need to be your own critic as well, and really step back and say like, okay, am I putting out like quality or whatever?
I think that's taking responsibility for where you are, good or bad, right?
For sure.
And I said it recently to someone else that like kind of the way I look at things, and I'd rather just be so self-reliant.
Yeah.
That then I'm rarely disappointed.
Yeah.
And so like, if I was going to let you borrow my truck and say you hit something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stress out about you paying for it because I lent you my truck.
Yeah.
I assume responsibility that I gave you the keys, something bad happened, this is on my watch.
Yeah.
And if I borrowed your truck and I bumped into something, I'd fix it.
Yeah.
Because you let me borrow your truck and we're a nice guy, right? Like, so I'll just always stay on the side of like, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's never a weird pissy about it.
Well, there's a lot of people that it's like I wanted to do it. I actually threw it on my story a while ago. I was talking about like just young kids and keeping their words. I think people, it's really easy to give your word. It's the same thing. Let's make it like relationship wise so you can relate to it, like people listening. It's really easy to say I'm never going to cheat on my girlfriend, when you just got done having sex.
Right.
And you're not fighting. But
yeah, you guys have been together 6 months.
And then let's say that you don't sleep together for 2 weeks and she fights with you every single day, or vice versa. The guy's a dickhead and the girl's like, man, I got to get out of here.
Or you got a couple kids and they're young and you can't split up and you don't have enough money. And
And you're going to feel differently about that,
Yeah.
It's just
look, it's not a black and white situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick?
No, go for it.
I'm about to piss my freaking pants.
Go for it. So,
what were we talking about again?
We were talking about just relationship stuff, that I mean I think it was just, that you can't just I think you said the analogy of cheating and
But before that, what were we chatting about?
Oh man. I don't know. We'll find something new.
Smoking that weed, dude.
Yep, it gets you. That's what they say.
Right.
Your Great Dane that passed.
Yeah.
Is this Aldo Rain as
Inglourious Basterds? Yeah.
Fucking great character.
Yeah.
Aldo the Apache.
The Apache, that's right.
Man, what a great movie.
Yeah. I was really bummed when that happened, man. We're days away from having our kid.
I know.
And that whole thing happened, I think within 15 days, 2 weeks, something like that, 13 days. It was crazy, man. It was like he had the one scar on his eyebrow, or the lump, and we put all of our focus on that. And literally he had one growing on his front left shoulder, but it was like in the shape of his shoulder.
Oh,
so
shit.
it looked like his shoulder just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then Case finally was like, she like had tears in her eyes when she told me, all right, Layla,
come on,
run on the show. Come on up. And Aldo comes walking down the stairs, and Case goes, I don't want to like wig you out. And he's got like the stitches on his eye.
Right.
He just had the other cancer removed. And she goes, I think there's another bump on his shoulder. And I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, kinda. It looks, it's almost like his entire, it would be like seeing just a bicep. It's like, this is his thing. Go in there, it was like a stage 4 bone cancer that's spread to everything. And when they told me, they were like, they kind of gave me some options. They were like, well, you can go up to, chemo and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, how do we do that? I'll do that, no problem. And then they're just kind of being like, it's in Seattle, it's a 4-hour drive, and, whatever, you're going to have to do that every other day. It was like a multiple times a week.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
not feasible.
Exactly. And then I start getting into it with Case because I'm just like, no problem. I'll just be driving there every day to Seattle. Well, Casey's pregnant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just, we got into a fight because she's like, you can't do that. And I was like, I knew that I wasn't going to. I just didn't want to hear it.
Yep.
And then, dude, within days, I was just like, well, we'll probably be able to. And the guy, just the way he made it sound, he was like, you're probably not going to need to do any of that. And within days, it was just like he couldn't, he was being more and more sore.
Right?
Then he couldn't even get like up. And then before you know it, it was like we had to move up the appointment to put him down.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen with a lab, or the last 2 labs I've had. And fuck, man, losing dogs is uncool.
Yeah, it was super sad. It was, but you know what? The best part about it is the people came out to our house. I don't know if you've ever done something like that.
Same thing we've done.
It was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't know the price difference. I always say that it wasn't much. I'm sure it was a big difference, but dude, this lady came out. Aldo was already like, he was laying on his side. I think he was like, dude, I'm not fucking moving. That was traumatic. So he was laying on his side. She comes out, pets him. She's got her mask on and everything, and she like puts the little thing into his vein in the back so he doesn't see it. And she just sat back and waited for me to say, okay. My parents came over, my sister, Cam, Layla, the cats came in, said bye. And it was like, I think it would have been terrible. We had just to do it the other way. We had a friend the other day who had like a few months ago, have a similar situation, but the problem was more like current, and the dog passed away in the vet while they were outside, and they couldn't see him. Dude,
and like stuff like that, right? Like, especially with, not to mention just the COVID bid.
Yeah.
Right now, but why in our system is death for people so fucking, like, why can't that be the option that the doctor comes to the house and you can die in your bed in your home with your family?
Yeah.
We've been convinced for a long time that dead bodies are not safe.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah, my grandpa, he passed away in his home.
Yeah.
With hospice there. Other than that, it's like, it's always been in like a hospital or like a retirement home or something like that. Really sad.
Super, super bummer, man.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I want to say the kind of origin of that, like with this fear of the bodies came after the Civil War because we were shipping bodies back to places from soldiers. And so there were guys that would show up at the battlefield and do embalming.
Oh, shit.
And so that was brand new because it gave the bodies longer to get out of the South back to wherever they were going on a train and not just rotting and decomposing.
Yeah.
And so once the war was over, the people who had gotten into embalming were trying to figure out how do you sell this to people and still have jobs. And it was convincing people that bodies weren't safe to be around, that they needed to be properly taken care of before we could put them in the ground or be around them. And you
just don't need to?
Yeah, and you just don't need to.
Wow. Did not know that.
If people didn't die of an infectious disease, and even if they did, I mean, think about, like, if you had someone that died of COVID in your house.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that spreads COVID is breathing and sneezing. They stopped doing that.
Yeah. It's just
it's not a problem
anymore.
Yeah. And so, it's just a weird thing. I mean, that's the business of death that's become our country of with embalming and the funeral home and the funeral business and selling coffins.
That's pretty wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting kind of death industrial complex, I guess, if you will.
But that's exactly what this was. Like, these people, I mean, they had like the little, what would it be, like a stretcher?
Yeah.
Aldo was 150 pounds.
Yeah, right. You're not.
So, like, I'm walking out there on this little, like, gurney or whatever with Aldo, and she takes him, loads him in the back of the car, and it was just one of those things where, like, I think a lot of people, and this is, I don't like talking shit, but it's like, I think a lot of people think that they love their dogs. But, like, man, some people love their dogs.
Sure.
Some people, like...
Well, it's a family member.
Yeah, it is, dude. And if they've been around long enough and they, you get down there next to their face and, like, dude, Aldo never bit anybody. Right. You know what I mean? Like, maybe people he didn't like, but, like, the family members and stuff, he was such a good dog. And I think a lot of people, they think that, oh, it's the family dog, he was loved. Like, I really loved my dog Clifford growing up, but it's like the dog Aldo, I feel like that was the only dog I've had.
Right.
And to be completely honest, like I had a dog growing up.
But there's a difference in getting a dog that was yours.
Yeah.
That
Instead
you
of, like,
had the entire time,
Yep.
that you took this thing on and said, I am responsible
Yeah.
for you.
It's exactly like a kid, probably.
Yeah,
I'll
except
know that soon, bro.
much less terrifying. And by
Yeah,
the way, you've got to be a dad for a while, but like for a pretty rad age, you've got this kind of 9 to 14 with
Yeah, so Cam was
your
awesome. So
son.
when we first, yeah, exactly. So when we first, Case and I first started dating, Cam was always cool, but like as he got older, like, you know, he liked Nerf guns, and dude, I'm pretty immature. You know, I'm sure you've seen some of the shit that I buy. I put that fucking like remote control boat alligator head in my pool, like,
Right.
floating around towards Layla. But I like that kind of stuff, and it was just that unique age where Cam was getting into it, and I'm like, before you know it, Case and Cam, you know, she's coming out from cooking, and Cam and I are having a Nerf war at the house when he's 9, you know?
I love it.
And as he gets older, then he plays video games and plays sports that I used to play, and then you just kind of connect on those levels too. I honestly don't think if Cam did anything different, like, we would have a different relationship. He's like that kind of a kid, you know?
Gotcha.
So, but luckily he did, you know, gravitate towards it, and he's been in the gym. I always tell him, like, flick him a little shit. I'm like, you got to feel pretty lucky, dude. You're probably like the only kid who has his own gym in the country right now.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
And then you're going to swap that out with a newborn.
Yeah, and that's going to be coming. The thing is, I think we'll probably have this shut down because, like I said, we got our friends training here, but we'll be coming right in. Case, I told her, I'm like, you can take time off, you can do whatever you want, and you know, she is a big believer in, like, we got to get to our routine because I don't want to like pretend to be quiet. So, you know, the baby gets used to a life we don't have. We come in here and we, you know, clang and bang every day, and we can't not have our kid with us, you know. And Casey's, you know, does so much work here as well. Like, I want this kid to be more bulletproof and like.
Well, I mean, think about the way dogs get, right? And
Yeah.
that, like, you got people that, you know, especially look at homeless people's dogs.
Yeah.
They're not snapping at anyone.
Because they're around people.
Because they're around
24/7.
people all day.
Yep.
And so the dogs that are shitty are those ones that are locked in and neurotic and only fed and
Get a
dealt
walk
with
every
one
once in a
person.
while.
Yeah.
Catch one sniff they don't like
Right,
and
and
go
so-
after them.
Yeah, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're just terrified all day.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, exposure is a big part of it. That's definitely something I see different, like in Iceland when we're there, the way that they handle babies. That, I mean, the babies over there, they plan on leaving them outside in the weather for a part of the time during the day.
Really?
Yep.
I think that's
just
tight.
like they're going to sit outside in the pram,
Yeah.
cry or whatever they need to do, but it's
Yeah.
in the fresh air and it's
Well, think of it like this: like the last 100 years have been pretty plush for like humanity,
Extremely.
but before that, it was like, dude, you were kind of
yeah, especially here.
Yeah, it was, you know, kind of sketch when you were giving birth and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And
Right.
like, I just feel like so much stuff's overthought, and not to mention, dude, I know that. You know, this is the same concept as like when people find something that you don't know or you whatever, it brings you back down. Having this kid is bringing all the people out of the woodworks that have, you know, good and bad advice for me. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, I wouldn't be doing that if I was you. Okay. You know, it's like this is also my
I
kid
also
that I
didn't
want
ask.
to. Yeah, exactly. So it's been pretty fun, but
Nothing worse than fucking unsolicited advice.
yeah, especially about stuff like that because people, I don't know what is going on. I think people see that we're having a baby,
Sure.
and they're like, "Oh man, newbies." It's like, dude, we got a 14-year-old.
Newbies.
You know, Case has been doing this. You know, all these people that are getting pregnant now.
just
Case
any-
has got like, you know, a kid older than most of
Right.
them.
It's anything to have that feeling of being able to say, like, well, now we'll get to see if his training.
Yeah.
How can he
And I've been
handle a real life?
Yeah, and I've been getting that too. It's like, but I think what people don't realize is like when you have your own spot, like you guys are talking about doing yours as well.
Yep.
Hey, I know that everybody can't go out there and buy their own gym, but
Yeah,
if
but
you,
at the same time, you fucking created this. It wasn't handed down to you.
Exactly.
You weren't born to some billionaire father.
So check it out. Some dude actually wrote me when he was talking about this, and he was like, "Yeah, well, it'd be cool to have like my own gym to train at." And I went to his page, and he had like a really, really nice 911. I was like,
Right.
"Well, if you just like sold that fucking Porsche, man, you could easily have your own gym, but it's just not that important to you, dude."
It's exactly right.
that
Don't
important.
mistake your fucking priorities for what mine
Yeah.
have been for the last 10 years.
Exactly.
You know,
like
and-
this, people think like I don't know. It's that's why I think some people just it goes back to like when we were talking about like the people building their following. Some people like the idea of it, but it's like it's the days where you come in here. Like I've had months where I've walked in here and been like, I fucking hate bodybuilding.
Yeah, dude. I have
But you
plenty of
just
time.
grind through it, you know. It's like that is what makes
That's
you
the
better at
difference.
this. You got to walk in there and go, dude. I have hated
and-
squatting for this entire month. None
Right.
of this is fun.
Right.
And then you just got to say, but I got to do at the most that I can do right now, and it might
That's
be
it.
a shit workout.
Dude, as long as it's a +1 for the day.
For sure.
You know, and maybe that's just even me overcoming that day and feeling of not wanting to train and being like, look, let's just warm up and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, we'll just squat a couple sets and see where it goes. And next thing you know, like you've got a couple reps in. It's an okay
go in with a
workout.
shitty expectation, and then it's
That's
really easy to
just
blow past it.
Anything's good today.
Yeah.
Anything
Going
we
for
do
a
is
1 rep
plus.
max. Got
right,
3?
Fucking
All right,
perfect.
fucking
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. But no, like a lot of people, like I actually really enjoy. We should talk about that because I love the chat we were having about the opening your own gym.
Yeah.
With the expenses and like what people could put into it. I know a lot of people are doing it more, but I think a lot of people don't realize how
affordable
it
is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, you can get a space, I would say, warehouse space, no air condition. You don't need it, which is essentially opening CrossFit.
All we have
it's
is
like
the
a mini
splits.
CrossFit box.
Yeah.
You know, 1,000, 2,000 square feet.
Yep.
Doesn't need an office. You're not running a business.
Yeah.
You and some friends are opening a private gym.
Yeah. What people don't realize about this gym is this upstairs seating is the only seating in this gym.
Right.
There's no front
Yeah,
desk.
the rest
there's
of it's all gym.
There's no signing anything. The entire ground floor
It's
is
so
training.
impossible to have any comprehension of the size of a place
Yeah,
based
for sure.
on photos.
This is actually, I think a lot of people think it's bigger. It's a pretty compact little
Yeah.
space. Do you think it was bigger?
I did. I thought it was
Yeah.
bigger, but also with mirrors and lighting,
Yeah.
it gets tricky to figure out depth.
Yeah, and to be honest, like it's actually a little tight for what I've wanted. I've always wanted to like punch through to the other side and whatnot, like we were talking about. But that's when it turns into now it's not okay to do it by yourself.
Right.
You have 2 spaces that you're doing. Okay, well, where are the fucking memberships to pay for this place?
Right,
You
where are
now
the
have
things
double
that
the
pay for
mortgage
this?
and everything.
Yeah.
So now we start getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? I haven't used, the tricep press down machine in a month and a half. I'm going to sell it to the local Northwest Fitness Supply and see what else they got. And then you can move we got a great relationship with them. We were talking about, they just bought out an LA Fitness because the big box gyms are shutting down.
Shutting down.
So
dude.
he
It's
hit
an
me up and I was like,
it's
got
an
any calf
interesting
equipment?
time, dude.
It
man.
is, and he's got great deals on it. So just think about what was fun about this gym, and this is exactly what you'll be able to do, is you could pick all the equipment in this gym is what I like.
It's exactly. Look, it's everything I like about building my truck.
Yeah.
It's a couple years of process of elimination and realizing what was too much or what didn't do enough or this could have been better using this instead. It's this optimization of your
it's
space.
like you said out there, you were like, I finally am driving around and knowing that I don't want anything else done to it.
Yeah,
That's
which
because
now
it's
means
perfect.
it's time to start another one.
Yeah, like when you could walk in here and go, man, I'm going to get my mandatories done, but I want some fun shit in here to train, and you have everything you want. It feels good.
And also, it's fun being able to say, like, okay, so right now I'm really into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then shift.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, as long as I think people think that the direction has to be just so to the point.
Yeah.
When, I mean, allow yourself some room to work left and right and make adjustments on the way.
For sure.
And you can still be going east.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think, people just get fucking locked in that it has to be and there's only one way.
It's like everything. Unless it's perfect, a lot of people won't do it. But
there's no perfect.
There's no perfect. And as long as you could just chip away at like those little things, you can keep doing whatever you are doing and then still have that.
Right.
Yeah. That would actually be pretty sick. A lot of people are doing that, though. They're doing it's not so much bodybuilding gyms. It's like these garage style. What is it called? Garage style?
Well, garage gyms.
Yeah, but
but like they're more powerlifting based. Typically.
Yeah. Not a lot of machines.
Right.
Because if you
machines take up too much footprint.
Well, if you got rid of half the, I would say you could make do with half this if you didn't do these machines. If you had free weights and a couple squat racks and just power stuff.
Yep.
You could do half this, and that would be half the cost.
Yeah, and depending on who makes really good racks, Sorinex or anyone else, you can get something that's got a good cable system on it. If you can get leg curl, leg extension, a lat pull down, and a squat rack and plates with a bench,
yep,
you're fucking golden.
Yeah, yeah. And you just got to have, as long as you have a little bit of the imagination to keep other stuff going, you can do a lot with just free weights.
Man, coming through rehab, I remember just having different days, and I like getting to the gym and getting around the gym was such a pain in the ass because I'm stuck on crutches for 12 weeks. And so I figured out that I can sit on a bench stationary with a pair of 25-pound dumbbells, and I can slaughter myself if I'm willing to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Whether I want to sit down and just rep out a bench as long as I can and then really control tempo, you can crush yourself.
Listen to this shit. This is unreal. So this is, I don't know if this was it's definitely the quarantine because, all of our buddies were in here at the time. And some kids walked by. They were kind of, I think they were obviously fans.
Yeah.
But they were really nice to Case and they kind of got our attention. And this place is closed up. We had film where we were doing our work in here.
Right.
And these kids like walk over and they kind of get Case attention. They say some nice stuff. Case walks in. She's like, "You think they can come in and say?" I'm like, "Totally." Like, they're fucking bring them in. We were all bullshitting. Turns out they were kind of like weird about it, a little shitty. This dude made this comment. He walks by and he goes, "Dumbbells only up to 150s, huh?" That's what he said, and I was like, bro. And my buddy Jesse that I train with, one of the strongest fucking dudes I've ever met, under his breath, he goes, "Take him for a ride, homie." It's just like, dude, you walk in here. We're nice enough to bring you in, and you just shit on it immediately. And he goes, "Where's your deadlift platform?" I go, "The fucking ground, man."
Right.
We've been doing it right there. Like,
I've made the same comments, like Hapthor's gym over in Iceland, like getting in there, and I'm like, "Oh, dumbbells only up to 240."
Yeah. Jeez,
like, what the fuck do you even
a couple
do with
of humans
these?
right there, bro. Yeah, geez,
Just
man.
terrified of it.
Yeah. That's
Like,
40
I
on
guess
me.
these are okay. I don't know what you'd use that for.
Yeah, do you want me to just pick that up with a little tractor?
Right.
Move it to where you want it?
Does an excellent job of holding this area of
Yeah,
the gym
I've
down.
actually always wanted to go to his gym.
Dude, it's great.
Is it crazy?
Dude.
I mean, I don't do any of this stuff. I just want to see it.
Iceland's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're ever interested in going, I'll happily introduce. I've known the guys there for a long time.
Actually, please do,
I've been
because that's
10
one
or
of the
12
ones-
years.
Isn't there a spot in Iceland where you can swim? It's like a river between two of the
Yes, continent plates. Yeah. So
that
it's,
looks unreal.
So underwater you can either scuba dive it or you can just scuba.
But it's like
snorkel.
crystal clear, right?
Yeah, the water's crazy clear. I think it's as clear. I think judged wise as the clear water police decide clear
shit.
water can be.
Well, it's like it looks almost fake.
Yeah,
it looks
it's
like it's a
super fucking
manufactured
cold.
place. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's between the Eurasian tectonic plate and the American tectonic plate, and it cuts through this national forest.
Did you do some pretty good exploring out there?
Oh yeah. So I've been 12 times now.
Wow,
and
that's
so
like
once a year for like probably the last decade, and a couple times went more than once. And so now I've got good friends, and so like travel and camp.
It's actually more fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
'Cause,
instead of going there and
it's
then
like being
sightseeing,
home.
you know everything.
Yeah, it's like being home now. So like even now when I go, I'm stoked not even leaving Reykjavik because I just want to hang out with my buddies. So like getting to stay with my friend Hasey, and then I've got a key to Haffy's gym, and so getting to go train and then cook through the day and live.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tight.
But
it
it's
looks
such an
awesome,
amazing
dude.
country, dude.
Did you ever watch those CKY videos back in the
Oh
day?
yeah.
Do you
dude,
remember
those
when
are
they?
great.
I think it was CKY or CKY2K. They fly to Iceland on that random trip, and they go to that waterfall.
Yeah, I've
and
been to all those places.
Dick Camillo does that like rap or whatever.
Yeah, down by the river.
Yeah. That's
dude,
awesome.
I love that. All the CKY videos were so fucking good.
That's you've been to that thing?
Yeah.
That's
those
cool.
two waterfalls.
It had
are
to have been
south
like a
of-
pretty popular.
Yeah, they're big.
It's like one of the main
Yeah,
ones.
it's Skogul Falls and Solana Falls, which are just like south out of Reykjavik down the ring road. There's one road that basically
Do
circumnavigates.
you go to those? What are they, man? The warm springs.
Yeah, Blue Lagoons and Hot Springs are super cool.
That's tight.
And like a bunch of like just random small towns, they'll have really nice public pools that are all geothermal heated.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow.
And so like when we were there last year, Bonnie and I, we rented a little camper van.
Yeah.
And just cruised and camped, and
That looks like a place you can get lost in
It's
that
awesome.
like landscape.
dude, the landscape's incredible. It just doesn't look like anywhere else on Earth.
Yeah.
Because there's no trees and it's big.
Yeah.
And
It's just like those big rolling hills, kind of, right?
Yeah.
But no trees on them.
right.
They filmed what the hell's that movie? It's maybe I'm spacing it. I thought it was that Prometheus movie. That one
They
of those
did
aliens.
film some of Prometheus there. So
It's,
yeah,
it's
part
like
of
the
that's
white
filmed-
scene where like he's the white looking alien. He
Yep.
takes that shit and he melts or whatever.
Yeah, and he puts it
That's
into
Iceland.
the river. Is
yeah.
all in Iceland. Yeah, I think
But-
it's a very doctored video from
Yeah.
the like Gullfoss area.
Yeah.
It's big ass
But
waterfall.
it looks unreal.
the
Like
whole
fake.
country looks that way.
Yeah, that's
and
tight.
it's very much like be safe because nothing's safe.
Is it
here.
expensive there? I thought the
It's
travel to
definitely-
get there was expensive too.
Getting there is pretty cheap.
Oh, fuck.
And it's honestly like so. It's like a 5.5 hour flight out of Chicago.
Oh, really?
It's no big deal. Direct flight. You go over the top. It's actually not bad from Portland.
Really?
Because you just fly over the top of the planet.
Wow.
Instead
Top
of-
the planet.
Well, if it's
Yeah, yeah.
allegedly round.
Yeah, that's cool. Got to
but-
go to the other side, drop off, and then
It's
pop
cool.
up over there,
That's
right?
the way to go. Manhole,
Yeah.
big Mario type tube.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, flying there, you fly over Greenland, which is super gnarly looking.
What's that like?
It just looks like the moon. It looks like another
a
place
sheet.
that no one should be allowed to live.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
sharp, jagged, terrifying
Everything.
everything. Yeah.
Sounds
just
like the
big.
description of the comet from Armageddon.
Yes, that's exactly what it
Scariest
looks
place
like.
on Earth?
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect. Just
scariest
go with
place on
that.
Earth. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's tight. Case and I actually
Worst
one
environment imaginable?
of that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when Case and I first started dating, we were kind of planning like one of those. We worked nonstop when we first dropped like
Sure.
the site and everything, really grinding our asses off for that. And we kind of were like, you know what, we should reward ourselves and go on a trip. And that was one of the things. I don't know if it was the time that we were looking, but it was expensive. It was expensive to a point where we're like, Coach, we ain't going. Well, I mean, like, Coach was expensive. We're like, can't do any of this stuff. And but you know, that's been a spot that I've been talking about forever. She wants to do the Europe, do all that. The one thing that I want to do over there is the Colosseum, all like the Greek Colosseum and everything.
Rome.
And I got to see like the World War II monuments, like the Holocaust and all that stuff. Maybe a different trip or something, but like all that stuff. Got to see it.
We've talked about it, man, and I mean, as you can, we travel quite a bit. So like we had planned, like for this year, stuff that got canceled. Originally, this road trip we're on, we were going to drive from St. Louis to Anchorage.
Oh shit!
And like camp our way up. But since the border's closed.
Have you been through Alaska at all yet?
No, I've been to Alaska. I competed up there in 2016. But we just flew into Anchorage and competed in this little town, Palmer, so like maybe an hour out there. But it's incredible. The Rockies are so big.
The only time I've ever been to Alaska is we did like when I was really young, we did a cruise from like Vancouver and then just went up to like, it was, what are some of the towns? It was like Juneau
and probably Anchorage, and then there's like Glacier Bay.
Yeah, like we got on like the helicopter on the boat or the ship or whatever and flew over, and we were able to get like water off of the glacier. Cool. It was tight, but we didn't do anything really
on the ground.
Yeah,
camping's been super fun, man. And then like we've talked about doing a European trip. I found a company that like so you could rent like a Sprinter all built out in Europe. And it wasn't crazy. Like I looked it up and it was like 20 days. We could rent it in Milan and drop it off in Amsterdam.
Wow.
And
how much?
I think it was like $3,000.
Dude, that's actually
for 3 weeks.
Just a setup thing. All you got to do is add
and
the food you
want. And then you can sleep
where
you want and go through borders and travel and.
But what's the deal with like the Sprinter vans and stuff? Is it like you still got to go to campgrounds and like all
sometimes?
That?
So at least the beauty with a Sprinter van is you can kind of boondock a little bit easier. Like my truck, I can't because you can't fold the tent out.
Yeah.
But if you're sleeping in the van in a Walmart parking lot, it's totally okay.
Oh.
And then I know the UK's rules for camping are pretty lax. Like they're not going to run you off of a street if parking's okay there.
Oh, okay.
And that's the beauty of a van is you can kind of just wall it up and it just looks like a parked car.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean.
So if you did that, that's what you would do, the Sprinter van?
Yeah, I would just travel that way.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. Well, like that's one thing that Case was talking about too. My parents just got an RV. It's got like the little sleeper over the top, the little truck underneath, and it's legit. It's badass, but it just feels like so much.
Right.
And what I want to do is like to be able to. I don't want to sit inside with like my flat screen. Like I want to be able to I want to camp.
Right, and that's one thing I really like about my current setup is I think that if I had, a camper and RV, I would end up sitting in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's a comfortable place to sit. I'm not going to sit at the fucking picnic table if there's a recliner.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, you have your camper on the top, so that's, like, where you'd go to sleep.
It's just where we go to sleep.
You're not going to sit up there and, like, have a good time. Like,
we talked about it last night, like, how comfortable we are. The fact that, like, I mean, we arrived at camp, and Brant starts putting his tent together. I unopen the one that we're sleeping in, and because Bonnie can't reach a bunch of shit, she starts making food.
Cool.
And then we sit and have dinner at the campsite, and then... go our separate ways. We usually get high, and I'll sit in the hammock for a while. And
now we're talking.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest place
ever.
So
where'd you guys camp? Have you camped anywhere in Oregon already, or did you guys shoot up into Oregon? Like from the previous
we camped
spot?
in Oregon the 2 nights that we were with Chris over at...
you guys were at Kabuki.
Yeah, so we camped down the Clackamas at a really, really cool campsite. That was it was super, super good. Yeah, that was a good night. A little bit of LSD was great. It was an excellent night.
Real nice.
And then, so that's been the only night in Oregon this trip. And so we'll Airbnb a few nights just to, like I said, wash clothes, catch up on Wi-Fi, and do all that type of stuff.
And then where are you going after this?
South. So we'll drive down the coast till we get to Ashland, where I
Yeah.
believe like the CBD farm I've been working with, RDSP Farms and the Oregon Originals people. So
Tight.
yeah, it should be really cool.
There's actually a few pretty, I don't know the names of them, but there's a pretty good amount of grows, popular ones that, distribute out. They're massive operations in Southern Oregon.
That's what I hear. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I think so. They're putting us up at an Airbnb one night, and they were going to do a tour of the farm, and they were camping at the farm the next night.
You guys send me some pics. I want to see what it looks like.
I'm very curious as well. Like
I love all that stuff.
Same.
There's you probably haven't heard of it. There's like an old show out in like the Northwest. It was like public access called Ramblin' Rod, and it's on the way out 26 like towards the country, out towards like Vernonia. And I don't know what's in it. Like it used to be like where you would go and like do the little TV show or whatever, but now it's like glowing bright blue, and there's multiple buildings out there.
Oh, man.
And I just think that like a lot of these people are getting into it's an incredible business. And if these farmers out there have the land to do it, it's pretty easy to convert some of this stuff over. That's what they've told.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's a lot of great products that come from growing hemp other than just, pot and CBD.
Once I got into these like hemp rolls,
Yep.
I don't do anything besides these.
See,
Because if you do the amount of like smoking that like I don't know how much you do.
I
but
like to smoke.
Yeah, I love it just throughout my day.
Yep.
And if you're smoking something that has like a tobacco roll or something, that's a lot. Dude.
I can usually a good 1 gram joint. I'm good for the day.
Yeah.
I can hit it a few times kind of throughout the day, and then at night when I want to let her rip,
Yeah.
usually finish it and then send off and maybe take some edibles before I go to bed.
I'll give you a couple edibles before you take
Woo-hoo.
off too.
Man, somebody pointed
You guys,
me in that
but you're out in Legalville.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll buy
you got
it.
everything.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I actually some of the stuff that I get now, just because the local people out here, like any of the stores, will kind of get a lot of the same stuff over and over.
Sure.
And when Case and I were in New York last, I met a guy who weed dealer.
Yeah.
And he, through all of like social media and like everything going on, kind of built a unique online mailing business of his weed business.
Amazing.
So he vacuum seals his flower and sends it to me, and then he'll always throw in like a couple of edibles and like, but
right
he'll put
on.
in like it's all homemade, so it's like 100 milligram
Woo-hoo.
caramels. You know what I mean? Like out here, when you buy like all of it, it's like
it's like
each one's
10s.
5 milligram or
Yeah.
10. This one's like, hey, eat friggin' a piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been getting stuff during the shutdown from a buddy, and they're like these nerd ropes. that are,
Oh,
like
cool. I've never
6
had
or
that.
so inches long, and
Yeah.
they're about 300 for the whole thing.
Oh shit.
And so, I mean, yeah, I definitely had some nights where I was like, I'm gonna try to eat 100 and just see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
and
That'll just put me on my ass.
well, that's what happens. I'm like, what's the worst case here? I go to
Yeah.
bed.
There's
Shucks.
actually, before I got the edibles that were like heavier, like that, a little higher, because you buy the ones that like Case likes. She hasn't obviously been on anything since she's been
Sure.
like pregnant, but like she loved the edibles more than smoking. And the little ones that she would take, the little wild ones, they were like 5 milligrams. And there was like, I think 50 total in a
Yeah,
thing.
those are dope.
So
The
then
wild
it's
ones
like,
are cool.
well, then if I need probably over 100 to feel it, and it's like, well, that's these are fucking
Yeah.
expensive. And they make some of them that are like kind of like you said, like a really heavy dose. That sounds awesome. Like
Yeah.
the Sweet Tart, what was it?
Nerds rope.
Nerds Rope. That actually sounds banging.
It was
But
awesome.
like they make these like it sounds weird, but like an oil. It looks like goop, like a syrup syringe, and it's 250 milligrams of
Ooh-wee.
yeah. And it's just, but it has the little like you have to take like this much. It looks like a tiny little
it's like
drop
it's-
of syrup, and it's like, dude, if you were to just that whole thing into your mouth and just whatever, or
Well, it's
cook
like
with it.
Listening to like Joey Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Like him talk about these like stars of death he'll eat that are 250 a piece.
Yeah.
Like he'll be 1,100 milligrams into his podcast. Like,
Yeah.
woof.
Does he just get like completely obliterated?
No.
I wonder, like, because a lot of people like if
It must not react the same way.
Yeah.
I just don't know that you can build. I mean, with that said, I mean,
Yeah.
he's talked about being super fucking fucked up.
But imagine like the tolerance that you build, just how you build up tolerance with like a pre-workout.
Oh,
Start with
sure.
1, now you're at 2. Holy shit, I'm at 4 now.
yeah, my
just to
tolerance
feel
with
it.
edibles built quickly
Yeah.
through shutdown.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to actually come off, like for
I think the trick is to switch.
okay.
So like, now with that said, coming off for THC is dope. It's 72 hours.
Yeah.
It's a full reset on your receptors in 72 hours.
Really?
Yep.
Shit.
So you're back basically to zero. Now I think you're like almost like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like you'll get the tolerance
back fast?
quicker.
Gotcha.
But
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into smoking weed, I'd take like a bong rip, and I'd like sprint to the fucking bed. I'm like, I don't want to go down, man. It's gonna hit me in like 15 seconds. I'm gonna be on the moon. And now it's like, dude, you could start a day with a dab, and you're like, hey, start working. It's like, god damn, dude, like, I want to get my tolerance back down so it can hit you.
This would be a cheaper day to get.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like being the dude who takes 15 shots of vodka to get shit faced. It's cool, but it's like,
nor do I want to be the guy who needs 3 shots of vodka to feel normal.
Yeah, like it's still fun to sit down with buddies and like smoke.
Right.
And I feel like my buddies, when we sit down and smoke, like they get pretty lit up, and I'm just kind of like, I'm normal.
Yeah, I end up saying
feeling similar.
Plus being bigger.
So 72 hours, huh?
I think so. Yeah. For sure, less than a week.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If I'm I might be resetting it because I'll be stuck in that hospital for 2 days.
Yeah. You figure out a way to sneak out in there.
I'll take a picture of me sprinting to my bed after I take a bong rip, and I'll send it to you guys. Yeah. Well, that's crazy, man.
Well, dude, let's wrap up, man. This has been awesome, and we'll do a cool fucking tour of this gym. I'm super stoked on this, and like getting to travel the way we get to, like, it's fun being inspired by a bunch of different things and then coming home with it and kind of getting to digest.
For sure, man. I'm actually really excited for you guys in your gym. I think it'll be a game changer for you.
Dude, I do too. Having that space to like shoot content and film, and then, for both of us end up needing training videos of shit, and man, it just doing it somewhere else where they're not filming. I feel like a dick because it's like, hey, gonna kill the music. Yeah.
It's like what did my buddy Dan say the other day? He's like, it's like borrowing somebody else's dirt bike. He's like, it's fun, but it'd be cool if you had your own, whatever. And just the fact that you're doing what you're doing, especially with podcasts, dude, if you had a sick setup similar to this or your own vibe, right, you could take care of your podcast, take care of your lifting, take care of everything.
And that's why I've got mine set up so easy to travel with.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, that was, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Ready to roll.
Yeah, the setup of this is easy. We travel with it. And then, the clothing thing, like we've outsourced it.
Yeah.
It has been since day one. It's all manufactured out of Topeka, Kansas, at where my warehouse is.
Oh, that's tight.
They run and ship everything for me and handle all the customer service. They've been awesome.
That's awesome, man. So, and there you go, dude.
Yeah.
Just building that up.
It's been super rad.
Yeah.
Anything on the horizon other than new kid coming?
Other than the kid, not really, dude. It's obviously a little strange with the virus and everything. Puts a lot of things on hold, but we've been kind of just chilling. It's kind of one of those a forced time to like kind of pump the brakes on some stuff. Been able to focus on being able to get my work done and seeing my family. I've seen my parents a lot more, done a lot. We're big like river people. With the shutdown and everything, I've been able to see family and do more outdoor shit than I used to. I think you get you take it for granted.
Well, I think
it's always there.
We're so used to like, okay, next weekend we're going to be at this thing and then that, and we're you get into the jet set lifestyle, which we end up being. We fly once a week, give or take, and then like it's kind of been nice going into this, and I realize more people are home, so it's not apples to apples, but I was home for 3 months.
Yeah.
I haven't slept in my own bed for longer than 3 weeks at a time for a decade.
Yeah, take it and run with it,
Yeah, like fuck, man, being home's okay, and then kind of having that confidence of like, business is still okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to travel as much.
Yeah. And
I can focus on doing the travel I want to do.
Yeah. And I think, maybe one last thing, a lot of people are listening to some of the stuff that we're talking, and it's cool when we sit there and talk about some of the stuff that we do and everything, but I think people need to realize that, everything's turning around when this thing gets back, and people that are having problems with their businesses, it's going to be back to normal. People are going to flood to get back to normal. It's been too long that we've been able to stop doing what humans do, stuck doing it, and people are, when the green light is go, all these people that are having some hard times with their businesses, I think it's gonna come full circle.
Yeah, I just really hope they can survive it.
Yeah, we've been chatting with a couple, not really chatting with them, but kind of keeping our ears down, listening to some of our local favorite spots, because a local one, Montage, completely shut down. Posted on their story or on their page, and we had one of Cameron's birthdays there. I went there for prom. It's just a cool local spot, and it's like, god damn, dude, if I just knew that they were having like a hard time, maybe some of these businesses, could have used $500 to last another month, and that's what shut them down.
Right.
These companies can't be gone because of $500. So,
yeah.
We got a local spot called Peppers, and we always go to these places to try to support them. But I'm hoping when this thing turns around, everything will be back to normal.
That's what I hope too, man. I hope. Man, it'd be a real bummer that you've invested in this thing and it wasn't the failure of your business that took it from you.
Freak out of the.
I mean, dude, I can't help but think about Vince McMahon with the XFL.
Yeah, yeah.
You took a shot at this a decade ago,
Yeah.
or longer now,
Yeah.
and it flopped
Yeah.
because you were trying to compete against the NFL.
Yeah.
And then you've done it again, and you're doing it in the off season, and it's fucking working.
Yeah.
And then this kills it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Kills it.
It was working.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we should have this other. Like, you can't tell me there's not a market for a secondary league of football.
Yeah.
People watch this shit all year.
Yeah. It's just it's a weird time, dude.
It's a weird
When people
time.
can't be contact sports seem weird when that's how you get a virus. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it's just fucking strange.
It's a very, very strange time. It's, our handling of it hasn't been incredible as a country.
Yeah. Want to do the tour?
Yeah, let's do the tour. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Anywhere they can follow you. If my people don't know who you are.
Yeah, Smith.Julian on Instagram. That's it.
Arms Race Nutrition.
Arms Race Nutrition, Clifford Lennox for clothing.
And for training, people can follow you.
Yep, as well. And then we got the Daily Pump app as well. That's my daily training.
Hell yeah. There you go. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Appreciate it.